Hi, it's Alistair at Electric Scotland. Just wanted to do a little video about this coronavirus because I was at the getting my car serviced the other day there, and because it takes a bit of time, they offer to run you home and they'll pick you up after the event. Well, as it happens, when I went there, the guy that ran me home wasn't wearing a mask. And clearly I'm in the front seat and he's in the driver's seat, so we're less than 6 meters, 6 feet apart. And so I was saying, do you not wear a mask? He said, well, actually I've got exemption because I've got asthma. And I said, well, that's good. I said, I hope you're ensuring that anyone that comes in the car with you is wearing a mask then. He said, actually, I'm a bit confused about all what's going on here, he said, but, and then I thought afterwards, that I don't actually recollect anyone in that car dealership wearing a mask. I mean, the boss's son came out to pick me up to take me back for the car, and it occurred to me he's not wearing a mask either. And when I got there, the receptionist at the service centre wasn't wearing a mask. And there were several engineers or mechanics that were there that weren't wearing a mask either. And I thought to myself, that's not right. It really isn't right at all. And so, because the guy was confused, I thought to myself, there's nothing really to be confused about it. The fact is, the virus spreads between people. And so, the recommendation is wash your hands frequently. Self-distance by 6 feet or 2 meters. And if you're going shopping, then wear a mask. And you're wearing a mask again because you might distance yourself in the shop, but the staff are around and you don't want to infect the staff if you can help it. So it's just good sense and being a responsible person. So anytime you shop, wear a mask, but also anytime you go anywhere where you cannot distance and you're going to be within that 6 feet or 2 meters, again, wear a mask. And if you don't wear a mask in those circumstances, 1, you're stupid, 2, you're selfish, and 3, you're an idiot. And I hope the people that are listening to this are wearing a mask at these suitable times. If you're not, I'm sorry to say it, but you are very stupid. It's just common sense. I mean, I notice with interest about all the students who want to go home for Christmas. And what I find with that is that, great, that's going to be a lovely present to take back to your families. The coronavirus, yeah, give them the coronavirus. And I'm looking at the Thanksgiving celebrations. Huge numbers are travelling. And that just means, let's wait for a week or two after this event and just see how massive the spike is going to be. Because I can assure you, there's going to be a hell of a lot more people in America that catch this virus than have caught it already. And the amount that have caught it already is huge. So as I say, it's just sensible. You don't need a great amount of intelligence to get around the world. I mean, the other day there, I'm getting deliveries done now. So when I get my groceries, I get hold of Instacart. And in fact, there's several stores, grocery stores in Chatham, where I am in Canada, that will deliver. You've got Walmart is doing the deliveries. As well as Walmart, you've got Canadian Superstore, you've got M&M, which is the freezer company. So you can order any of those products online and they'll deliver them to you. Now, the other day when the girl came that actually did my shopping for me, she was wearing a mask. And I wore a mask because I know she was coming in to drop it into my kitchen for me in the house. And so because I was at the door holding the door open for her, and of course as she was going by, she was in that 6 feet area. So because we were both wearing masks, we wouldn't have caught anything from each other. It's just kind of sensible, really. I mean, I will say that I think we should consider, like in Chatham, we've got No Frills, we've got Sobeys, or 2 other big grocery stores, but neither of them will deliver to you. So I think somehow or other we've got to stop visiting those stores if we possibly can, to send them a message that why are you being so selfish and not doing home deliveries? I mean, there's a responsibility on businesses as well as individual responsibility. And it seems to me Sobeys and No Frills are not taking any responsibility. And they're just insisting if you want goods, you have to come to us and get them. Crazy. Admittedly, I go to Sobeys maybe once a month. And the reason I go to Sobeys is I love their home-baked bread in the baking store. I just love that bread. No other bread compares to it in Chatham, at least, that I can find. So I make a point of going in. I will, when I get out of my car, I'll put on my mask. I'll go into the store, go to the bread section, get the bread I need, go to the checkout, pay for it, come out of the store, go back to my car, and when I dump my bag in the car, I take my mask off. I'm not in the store that long, so there's no great inconvenience, and it's okay. But when I'm doing a much bigger shopping, I'll go online and make the order. I mean, 20 years ago, when I was in Scotland, I would order online from Tesco quite regularly. We didn't have coronavirus in those days, but it was so much easier to get it delivered when you ordered online. And it didn't cost very much at all, so it was well worth my time doing it. So, I mean, just think about it. If you're a nice person, a good person, you wouldn't want to infect anyone else, would you? But unfortunately, there are not so nice people around who just couldn't give a damn. And that's a real problem in my view. I mean, for example, I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. Homesteading, farming, all kinds of things that I watch on YouTube. And I subscribe to quite a few channels because I really enjoy watching some of those homesteading videos and stuff like that. Well, a few weeks ago, I was watching this series of homesteaders where the guy was building in a remote area of the country, building his cabin and trying to be self-sufficient. That's the aim at the end of the day. So, but he had suddenly announced he was having a special event and encouraging as many people to come to this event as possible. And I put a wee comment in saying, look, this is dangerous. And is it legal in your state? I said, have you checked this? Because I said the view around the world is that you shouldn't have gatherings of more than 50 people. And in fact, someone was saying you should stick with your own household. End of story. Don't mix with anyone. So I said, I just thought I'd bring this up to you. Is this the best time to have your event? Could you not maybe wait until perhaps we got a vaccine or something? Well, they replied, and so obviously my message sank home to them. But their message to me was, if you still message in this frame of mind, we'll ban you. Besides, everyone's an adult, and they can decide for themselves what they want to do. See, the guy took no responsibility whatsoever. But I watched the event, and yes, there were, I don't know how many people were there. There didn't seem to be too many. Maybe there was less than 50, I don't know. But what I did find is only one person was wearing a mask at that event. And as for adults, there were tons of kids at that event. Tons of them. In fact, he encouraged his own children, because he'd made these coasters that he was handing out to people. And so he was encouraging his own kids to go around and give them out to everyone. And of course the nice thing about that is all the kids were within 6 feet or 2 meters of the people they were handing the coasters out to. I mean, I just don't understand that. Would any decent father do that to his kids? I mean, surely the kids are far more important than having a little event where he's obviously going to make a bit of money out of it. Anyway, I mean, certainly I haven't watched that since. I was so disgusted. I said, I am not going to contribute to his income at all. These people should be discouraged. In fact, anyone with any common sense should stop watching that particular channel, in my view anyway. So as I say, but also, just recently I got my car serviced. It's my usual winterization service, basically. But one of the nice things about it is because it takes a bit of time to do the service, they've got a tax, well, they will actually run you back to your home and they'll pick you up afterwards to get you back to pick up your car. The guy that picked me up wasn't wearing a mask. And I asked him in the car, I said, should you not be wearing a mask? He said, oh, I've got an exemption because I've got asthma. I said, I said, well, you need to be very careful that anyone you pick up is wearing a mask. Because that way you could be in danger of getting this virus. Because if someone else comes in that's got it and they're not wearing a mask, you're going to get it for sure. Oh, he said, I really need to listen to you older folks. You seem to know a bit more about this. He said, I'm a bit confused about it all. So that's why I thought I'd make this little video, because as I say, at the end of the day, it's really very simple. One thing we know about the coronavirus is that not everyone gets it to the same level. Some get it and don't actually realize they've got it. That's one of the major problems. And some get it, but the symptoms are so light it's like a cold to them. And they'll get over it, and they do get over it. But the thing is that they're actually infected. So while they're not feeling the effects, they can pass on that virus to you. I mean, unbeknowingly, because if they believe they haven't got it, and they go and interact with their parents when they get home, or family members, they will pass that virus on. That's why you've got to think, folks. Think about it. So, I mean, what are the core things? They say wash your hands regularly. And then number 2 is wear a mask. Especially if you can't self-distance, because they're saying self-distance between 6 feet, 2 meters, and if you're going to be inside that 6 feet, 2 meter, then you need to wear a mask. But you also need to wear a mask when you're out shopping. It's just being polite, after all, because there's a lot of store staff there that are helping you, and you may well at the checkout come within 6 meters. So, I mean, just make sure you don't pass that on to the store staff. So that's what I mean by being polite and being sensible about things. And any time you go to a place, or an event, perhaps, that you cannot self-distance, you must wear a mask. I mean, you must wear a mask. And the number of events I've seen on television, like there was a protest in Canada where, I don't know, seemed to be thousands of people came out objecting to wearing a mask. Well, frankly, I think if someone's known because they didn't wear a mask to spread the virus to someone else, that person should be in prison. Or they wouldn't go into prison at the moment because of the virus, but nevertheless, they want to feel pain because they're selfish, they're stupid, they're idiots. I mean, if you can't wear a mask for a short time, what is the matter with you? It's maybe not nice, but there are different masks you can get that let you breathe reasonably well. So, self-distancing is the one barrier that the virus can't overcome. And especially if you're in the house, because if you're outside, there's less of a chance you'll pick it up. But this case of running without a mask in a car is problematic to me. And as I say, it was the owner's son that picked me up to take me back to get my car. He also wasn't wearing a mask. And the receptionist at the service centre wasn't wearing a mask. And I saw several mechanics going around together that also weren't wearing a mask. In fact, I don't see anyone in that dealership wearing a mask. And that's a problem, and I blame the father for that owns the business. He should be telling the staff you must wear a mask, especially if you're within 6 feet of each other. And there were several people chatting together that were clearly within 6 feet. So, otherwise sensible people are just brain dead when it comes to this virus. And as I say, if you're one of those that picks up the virus and has very little effects on you, and you don't actually think you've got it, the thing is, you've got it. And you're passing it on maybe unbeknownstly, but you wouldn't be passing it on if you were behaving sensibly and taking the advice of all the governments around, all the local authorities are giving the same advice. As I say, self-distance, wash your hands regularly, wear a mask. I mean, what's not to understand about that, guys? So, I thought as much for that mechanic guy that took me home and that, I thought I would just explain that. It's really not difficult. As I say, it's being polite, it's being sensible, it's being considerate of others. And if you're not considerate of others, then there's something wrong with you mentally. And you perhaps need to try and get some help. But if you're one of those that decides that I'm not going to wear a mask, then there's something wrong with you. And you've got to find out why you've got that attitude, because it's a bad attitude. It shows you don't care about anyone else other than yourself. You're selfish. There's something wrong with you if you don't do that. And you've got to understand that, guys. You really have to. Okay. Now, I also want to talk about Christmas and Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, yeah. I think there's going to be a huge spike in infections in America right now, because so many people have traveled to have their Thanksgiving events. And the same is going to happen at Christmas. And because of the sheer volume of people that are ignoring the advice that's coming out to self-distance, there's got to be a huge spike. I just look at the number of coronavirus infections in America and watch it over this coming Christmas season, and let's look. And if you get huge spikes, you'll know why, because so many people says it's not affecting them. But go to the YouTube, do a search for Nola Crewe, Crewe is the surname. Look at her channel. Just this last Sunday, every Sunday, she puts her thoughts of the thoughts on a Sunday morning, she calls it. And this Sunday, when it's just only about 10 minutes, so it's not onerous to look at at all, but I like her attitude, to be honest. She was the Grand Prior of Canada, so she's Grand Prior 3 of the Canadian Knights Templars. She's an Anglican minister. She also has about 5 different degrees from universities as well, so she's a very intelligent person. But as I say, the thing is that she was talking about the problems at Christmas having this with this coronavirus, because she's always had a great Christmas with the extended family. And when I say family, she has, I think there's 3 sons one son and 3 daughters, all of which are married, all have their own families. And the whole crowd, the whole clan as it were, come to our home on Christmas, and they all have breakfast together. And after breakfast, they go into the front living room, where all the presents are out under the trees, and everyone gets a present, the kids especially. And they have a fabulous time. Well, this year, she can't do that. So she's thinking, how can I still keep the family retention going? one of the things she was talking about is having 2 Christmas trees this year, because she still wants the Christmas tree in her living room. But she's thinking that she'll buy a second Christmas tree and put it outside in the garden. Now, one of the things is that she's talking about decorating it and arranging for all her family to come at different times of the day, so that they'll come at a certain time, all go into the garden where the kids can open up all their presents under the Christmas tree outside, have a great time, chat with each other, and then after a time they'll all go home. And then half an hour later the next family will turn up. So there'll be 4 family groups that will come, and they'll all do the same thing. So that way they've had their Christmas presents, they've had a good time. I don't know if she's planning on doing some food or anything like that for the event, but certainly the fact that she'll be on the porch and they'll be in the garden, well separated, outside, and hopefully have a lot of fun. So she's also got lots of other little ideas about presents and all kinds of things that you could do at Christmas. So I would recommend you go and find it on YouTube and have a wee watch at this last Sunday's posting. So there you go. That was just some thoughts about the coronavirus thing. As I say, it's you and me that actually have a responsibility. It's not government, it's no one else, it's just you and me are the spreaders. And hopefully I haven't got it, and I don't see how I could have got it, because I'm self-distancing and I work from home anyway. So I'm not spreading the virus, that's for sure. And I don't think I've got it, because I feel fine. Got a bit of a cough, but that's a smoker's cough. There aren't anything else. And so, as I say, if you just pay attention to say, wash your hands regularly throughout the day, especially if you're going out somewhere. And then, as I say, self-distance. Wear a mask where you cannot self-distance, or you're going into shops or anywhere else. And as I say, if you just do that alone, then I say we should be fine. And I say, the greatest Christmas present you could gift your parents is death. I'm talking to the people that ignore the common sense attitudes. I mean, there's tons of students who want to go home for Christmas. I don't blame them. But are they going to take the virus with them and give it to their parents? You've got to think about that. And that's why they're talking about that any student that goes home for Christmas should perhaps get a test before they go to make sure they're okay. But they're not 100% these things. So do think about this, because as I say, and watch America, because Americans are very independent people. A lot of them don't care what the rules are. They'll break them if they feel that they want to break them. But I think it'd be very interesting, especially in America, to watch the infection rate over this festive season and to see where it's going to go. I think after Thanksgiving we're going to see a huge spike up the way, and especially at Christmas we'll see another big spike coming. And that will be because a lot of people didn't obey the basic, sensible rules. So, do think about it. Stay safe. Please obey those simple rules, and everyone should be fine. Okay, thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll talk again sometime. Cheers.